A very good evening to all our viewers. This is News First Prime Time News here on TV1. Today is the 29th of May 2023. Bringing you the news, I'm Jayamal Ratnayaka for the News First team. Let's start off the bulletin tonight with a look at your headlines.
News First Headlines. Main sponsor.
Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
Chinese national who was released on the letter of State Minister Aruntika Fernando and later arrested is a wanted man in China. Immigration officials to deport him soon. Venerable Rajangane Saddha Ratana Thera, who was arrested for disturbing religious coexistence, remanded. Lawyers go to bribery commission seeking inquiry into Ali Sabri Rahim's wealth. Rupee appreciates against the US dollar. And ADB approves $350 million for Sri Lankan Economic Stabilization Program.
News First Headlines. Main sponsor.
Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
Taking a look at tonight's top story, a meeting took place between the president and the ruling faction earlier today.
A meeting between the president and representatives of the ruling faction, including the SLPP, took place on Monday evening. SLPP MP Gamini Lukuge told News First that SLPP district leaders, representatives of allied parties and former ministers were among those present for the meeting. The meeting had centered around the current political situation.
වැඩපිළිවෙල ගැන කතා කරා. ඉස්සරහට ආණ්ඩුව ගෙනින වැඩපිළිවෙල අනාගත මැතිවරණයක් આવත් අපි කොහොමද ක්‍රියා කරන්න කියන කටුසටහනක් ගැන සාකච්ඡා කරා. දැන් කැබිනට් ඇමති ධූර එහෙම ලබා දෙන බව කිව්වද ඔබතුමාලා? කතාවක් කරේ නේ අපි ඉස්සරහ ගියේ නෑනේ කැබිනට් ඇමති. එහෙම ඇවිල්ලා හිටියා. ඒගොල්ලෝ ආරාධනා කරලා තිබුණා උද්‍යානපරිමේ දිස්ත්‍රික්ක නායකයන් ඇමතිවරු. සෙසු දේශපාලන පක්ෂවල අපිත් එක්ක ඉන්න නායකයන්. ඒ කට්ටිය එකතු වෙලා කරපු සාකච්ඡාවක් තමයි. කියන්නේ උද්‍යානපරිමේ කවුරුත් දුකෙන් නෑනේ නේද? දුක් වෙන හේතුවක් නැහැ අපි ආණ්ඩුවක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට දැන් ඔබතුමාලා කීපවන් ගියාම ඉල්ලලා තිබ්බනේ දැන් ඔබතුමාලාට ඇත්තටම මේ කොහොප්පේ ඇමත් සමහර පිටිස්සලට ඇමතිකම් ජේෂ්ඨයන්ට ඇමතිකම් දෙන්න කියලා. ඒක ගැන සාකච්ඡාවට බඳුන්නුන්නේ නැද්ද? ඒ ගැන සාකච්ඡා කරන්නේ අපි දැනුත් එහෙම ඉල්ලලත් නැහැ.
Sri Lanka's Attorney General told the Court of Appeal that the Chinese man who was arrested by the Department of Immigration and Emigration for the possession of a forged passport is a wanted person in China.
On the 18th of May 2023, immigration and immigration officers at the BIA had denied entry to the Chinese national upon deciding that the Guinea passport he produced was forged and arrested him. On the 19th of May 2023, the State Minister Aruntika Fernando intervened and addressed a letter to the Controller General of Immigration and Emigration informing that the Chinese national had arrived in Sri Lanka to discuss a housing project that will be launched under his ministry. The State Minister had requested that the Chinese man be allowed to enter Sri Lanka upon considering his Chinese passport. The Chinese national was allowed to leave the airport. However, he was again arrested by the Immigration and Emigration Department on the 22nd of May. In the meantime, a writ application was filed with the Court of Appeal seeking an order to prevent the Chinese national from being deported. Deputy Solicitor General Janaka Bandara, appearing for the Attorney General, told the Court of Appeal that the Chinese man had an outstanding warrant against him in China. Counsel appearing for the Chinese national informed the court that the application would be withdrawn. The Controller General of the Immigration and Emigration Department, Harshi Lukpitiya, said that the Chinese embassy in Colombo also noted that the man in question was wanted back in China. He said that following discussions with relevant agencies, measures will be taken to report him. Meanwhile, it was reported that Member of Parliament Ali Sabri Rahim, who tried to illegally bring a stock of goods including gold and mobile phones into the country, was arrested by the customs and fined 7.5 million rupees and released, has left for Dubai once again over the weekend. The Samagi youth lawyers filed a complaint with the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, seeking further investigation into the detention of MP Ali Sabri Rahim and questioned how the parliamentarian possessed such a large sum of money.
MP Ali Sabri Rahim paid a fine of 7.5 million rupees. A normal person cannot pay such an amount. In addition, Ali Sabri Rahim had made several visits to Dubai. An MP usually travels in business class and a ticket costs 300,000 rupees. How did he generate money for these travels? who benefited from these assets. These need to be investigated, and it would expose many other MPs linked to fraud and corruption.
දූෂණවල පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඉන්න ගොඩාක් කට්ටියගේ රෙදි ගැලවෙන්න ඉඩ තියෙනවා.
A state minister issued a letter requesting a wanted Chinese national to be granted permission to enter Sri Lanka. An MP was caught red-handed attempting to smuggle 3 kilograms of gold into the country. These are merely a couple of recent incidents. The nation's citizens would be unaware of such occurrings if not for the existence of media. But plans are currently afoot to stifle the activities of the media, the prime source, ensuring the people's right to credible information. Details of such plans emerged through certain statements made by policymakers over the past few days.
Special permission was sought from the cabinet, and the cabinet appointed a subcommittee led by Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa. Most procedures with regard to the Broadcasting Authority Bill have been completed. Currently, the legal framework is being drawn up to issue radio and television broadcast licenses in a transparent manner to ensure it is done properly and in an orderly manner. We have almost concluded research and discussions on the matter. We are currently compiling the work draft. In another week or two, we will bring it to Parliament following discussions with media institutions.
What is this sudden bill being drafted in haste? There is still no document on this available in the public domain. However, based on a letter issued by the Secretary to the Ministry of Mass Media, Anusha Palpiter, today, the subcommittee headed by Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa has already compiled a draft legal framework based on policy matters. What is this draft? No one operating in the media industry is still aware of. The State Minister of Mass Media recently hinted at some facts to be included in the new draft laws.
We are currently preparing a draft to introduce a new Broadcasting Authority Act. We have been compelled to consider matters concerning the vilification of certain people and their images being tarnished. No matter who likes it or not, we will table the Broadcasting Authority Bill in Parliament, pass it into legislation, and ensure the harm caused to society through the media is prevented.
This isn't the first attempt by the government to pass laws curtailing the freedom of the media. Similar attempts have been made since over a decade ago. In 2009, an uproar on media freedom occurred when the Press Council Act was to be amended to include laws enabling journalists and media institutions to be penalized. A unified movement by all media institutions opposing the move resulted in it being halted at the time. Following the change of government in 2015 and the subsequent introduction of the draft 19th Amendment to the Constitution, clauses had been included to suppress journalists and media institutions on matters concerning elections. In light of such revelations, News First and other factions explained facts to the Supreme Court on the matter. Following close examination of the facts, the Supreme Court determined that clauses enabling media suppression could only be included based on a referendum. Thereafter, in 2017, a draft was presented to establish a mass media regulatory commission, and in 2021, this matter came to the fore once more when amendments to the Press Council Act were proposed. The draft amendment, which included clauses on imprisonment, fines and confiscation of property, is currently shelved. It is against such a backdrop that attempts are now being made to bring forth a broadcasting bill.
I studied the act in Singapore. That act has established a regulatory authority that not only covers television stations but also social media. It has been empowered through many other legislations in the recent past. Organizations such as Amnesty International have criticized these acts and how they function to suppress the expression of opinions against a regime. They have now propped up certain people to rile up society, cause a stir and arrest those individuals. They will then claim laws of this nature must be passed to arrest people who disseminate information of this nature. The government that does not even have 113 seats is now attempting to introduce the Broadcasting Regulatory Act, Social Media Regulatory Act and the Anti-Terrorism Act. You may be aware that right to expression is to be criminalized through the Anti-Terrorism Act. This act will allow the government to direct the media as it pleases. It can also regulate social media based on its preferences. preferences. This is an attempt to regulate and ban social media users and media institutions, claiming they are planning to topple the government even if a post of status against the government is shared on social media. This is an attempt to land a killer blow on the freedom of expression. They brought forth the ATA, the rehabilitation bill, but they were unable to pass any of them in the face of strong opposition from the people. But the media suppression they could not introduce through the ATA is now being brought as a new bill.
The Criminal Investigations Department arrested Venerable Rajangane Saddarathanathero on Sunday night in Shravastipura, Anuradhapura. Police spokesperson SS Pinihal Thalduwa told News First that Venerable Rajangane Saddarathanathero was arrested for making statements that are harmful to religious coexistence. The Venerable Thero was produced to the Colombo Magistrates Court on Monday and was remanded to the 7th of June 2023.
I love the Sinhalese and Buddhism. I am the only monk to speak about all religions and communities. I am not afraid to die. It's best to speak the truth and die. I am not afraid to go to jail. The complaint is related to Natasha, Pastor Jerome and Lakai Sikai. This may have links to politics as well. I am going to prison for the people for the very first time. I have done nothing wrong. However, there are many criminals and the law is not enforced against them. Punishments are given to those who seek justice.
Venerable Pahyangala Anandasagara Thero, the chair of the Surakima Sri Lanka movement, said that Venerable Rajangane Saddarathanathero was arrested based on his complaint.
We witnessed some content on his YouTube account and Facebook page. We understood that a certain force is behind his conduct. Therefore, we intervened to call for an investigation into his conduct. This is a very bad precedent. This needs to stop. That is why I filed a complaint with the CID. I provided them with a video of the monk. I also provided the details verbally. Therefore, the CID has arrested him.
Sri Lanka police elaborated on the arrest of Venerable Rajangane Saddarathanathero.
The Criminal Investigations Department is probing the matter. He has produced several videos that allow to gather the views of others. Individuals have understood the comments in different ways and it is spreading as comments that disturb religious coexistence. He was arrested in order to control the situation.
Natasha Edirisurya, who was arrested for making controversial comments, was remanded till the 7th of June. She was arrested based on a complaint filed with the Inspector General of Police by the Commissioner General of Buddhist Affairs.
The Computer Crimes Investigation Division is probing the matter and she was remanded after she was produced in court. Investigations are ongoing and all aspects are being investigated. This becomes an offence committed under the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and investigations are taking place accordingly. Detectives are investigating all the aspects. If a certain comment has been made and if a complaint is received, the CID or the police will carry out the investigation. Such investigations have taken place before. If certain comments have been made and if a complaint is received in the future, the necessary investigations will continue.
The Nava Janata Nidahas Peramuna filed a complaint with the Criminal Investigations Department seeking an investigation on those who continue to disrespect Buddhism on social media and from where they get their funding.
This started from Sepala Ekanayaka and then it went to Jerome. Then this come out via a video on their self-vlogs YouTube channel with Natasha Idrisuriya. This is not a random event. This is an event organized in attempt to disrespect Buddhism, the Buddhist philosophy and our culture. The person operated this channel was offered 250 million rupees for the purchase. Where did they get the funds for this? The head of this group is called Manjuni Shankar. He is the leader of the Global Sri Lanka Congress. The president took certain quick measures in the recent past. There are several people behind these events. Their leader is Bruno Divakara. This group is planning to slander Buddhism and our culture.
Bruno Divakara නැමැති පුද්ගලයා මෙන්න මේ කණ්ඩායම විසින් මේගොල්ලෝ මේ ප්ලෑන් කරලා මේක සංවිධානය කරලා උපක්‍රමශීලීව මේ බුදුදහමට බෞද්ධ දර්ශනයට සිංහලයට අපේ සංස්කෘතියට සભ્યත්වයට ගන්නනේ.
The Global Sri Lankan Congress convened a media briefing to respond to the allegations.
පළවෙනි දේ තමයි මෙතනට මේ Singularity Sri Lanka කියන ආයතනය දැන් මේ
Singularity Sri Lanka. The premises you are here now is not an NGO but a private company registered under the Companies Act. It does not have a bank account and we do not obtain money from anyone. I personally funded all these movements and activities. I have the records of my funding, the sources and the users of those funds. I have all the financial records with me. The Criminal Investigations Department should not probe the planted news. They need to conduct a proper investigation and we will provide them with all the details. It is also said that I purchased SL Vlog and started this. SL Vlog belongs to Bruno Divakara and his partners. It belongs to Singularity Sri Lanka. We provide the studio facilities for the SL Vlog and they agreed to provide the content. In addition, Singularity Sri Lanka also engaged in consultations. There is nothing else.
පෞද්ගලිකව වෙනම අපිට සපයනවා. එතනින් එහාට වෙන කිසිම දෙයක් මෙතන නැහැ.
මුලින්ම කියන්න channel network එකේ
This network belongs to me. I agree with the politics of Manju and there is a mutual benefit for both of us. I have been given a studio because I agree with the politics. Is Dilith the only person who can engage in a mass campaign over the politics that he agrees with? The Hiru and Derana networks worked to bring the Rajapaksa camp to power. I am honestly committed to create a new generation of politics in this country. There is something related to Dilith Jayavira as well. There is no interest to take action on that. It is clear that this campaign targets Manju. Someone wants to incite racial tensions and that needs to be investigated.
මේ සුපුරුදු කණ්ඩායමක් එළියට දාගෙන මේ වැඩේ කරන්න කියලා.
A group of civil activists also held a media briefing.
පොදු සමාජයේ ජනතාව අතර ආගම්වාදයට ජාතිවාදයට උඩින්
The government is trying to incite racism and extremism through media at a time there is political criticism and a common agreement among society regarding corruption by the government and the economic crisis. The sitting president attempted to incite racial conflicts during the term of every government he held power in. It is not Natasha or those who laughed at it that are politicizing it, but Ranil Wickremesinghe and the SLPP government because it is beneficial to both parties.
පොදුජන පෙරමුණ අටවගෙන තියෙන ආණ්ඩුව මොකද මේ දෙගොල්ලන්ටම මේ තත්ත්වය වාසිදායක නිසා.
මේක නිශ්චිතවම මේ යන්නේ ඊළඟ දඩයමට.
This is definitely their next hunt. They are attempting to bring the next Namal Kumara to the forefront as the agent of the Ranil Rajapaksa alliance. That is the gist of this scenario. The real issue is the whole picture is not Natasha or anyone else. This is part of a political conspiracy. Don't fall for it. There are calls to arrest Dilith Jayavira. His video is going viral. We are saying don't do that as it is his right. The issue is that they are riling it up in the other direction. We are not calling for the arrest of anyone. This is a different game. They won't arrest Dilith, but they arrest Natasha. Understand this.
The Poson Full Moon Poe Day is mere days away. However, will the National Poson Festival be held smoothly? More details on this will follow after this short commercial break.
When a heart attack strikes, every minute makes the difference between life and death. With the right care and treatment at the hand of the most skilled surgeons and medical professionals. With the perfect environment for recovery. Darden's Heart Centre, dedicated to you.
Welcome back to the news. Still in local news, this year's National Poson Festival that is to be celebrated in Mihintale has been marred with issues. The main issue is the lack of proper funding, and the chief incumbent of the Mihintale Rajamahaviharaya spoke to reporters once again on this matter today.
Electricity needs to be supplied to the 100 restrooms, dancells, car parks and the police patrols as well as roadblocks. People will not provide the electricity. If any accident takes place due to the lack of electricity, the government must be held accountable. Take back the 3 million rupees and do your financial management. We do not want your money.
The Venerable Thero also commented on the future plans for the Poson festival.
We have
called for generators to cover the whole area. These donors are not only Buddhists, they are from other countries and also include the indigenous community. I request the government not to obstruct them. The youth from all corners will proceed from Dondra Head to this place. Monks will also go seeking alms. Do not obstruct them. Followers of other religions are part of this culture and they will add their alms. Followers of other religions are also part of this culture and they will add their donations. We have obtained over 5 million rupees. Our estimate for the puja, perahara and sermons is 22.5 million rupees. We will do it in a grand manner.
Teachers attached to 2 paper marking centres in the Kurunegala district stepped away from the evaluation of the 2022 GCE Advanced Level Examination answer scripts, citing payment issues.
Approximately 200 teachers who were assigned to the paper marking centre located at the Vimba Royal College stepped away from the evaluation process.
Paper marking was delayed due to tussle among authorities. However, we decided to join the process because of the students. Yet, the Department of Examinations is misleading us. We were informed that 1,500 rupees will be given. However, no such provisions were made. They obtained the signatures for the pay sheets, but no payment was made. Our salaries are also over. We have no funds to continue with paper marking.
Approximately 150 teachers assigned to the paper marking centre located at the Malia Deva Balika Vidyalaya in Kurunegala also stepped away from paper marking. These teachers were evaluating the answer scripts for geology, communication and media studies and accounts. They stressed that they would not engage in the paper marking process until a proper solution is given.
Former Member of Parliament Ranjan Ramanayaka appeared at the Gangodavila Magistrates Court for a case filed for obstructing the duties of a police officer.
මගේ කාඩ් එකෙන් සල්ලි වලට අරගෙන බෙදන්න ගිහිල්ලා ලොරියක් කහල් ලොරියක් ඇවිල්ලා ඒක බෙදන්න
The case was filed over an argument that took place when I was distributing goods using my personal funds. Due to the absence of the police, the case was set aside earlier. However, they have filed it again to persecute me. An argument broke out and a police officer admitted himself in hospital, claiming that I assaulted him. We are not allowed to work, even though I am out of prison. There are cases.
අවුරුද්දේ මාස 7ක් ඉඳලා හිරේ දුක් විඳලා ඇවිල්ලා තවත් නඩු ගොඩක් තියෙනවා මේ වගේ බොරු නඩු.
Sri Lankan farmers who feed the nation with rice are facing numerous issues, and the fertilizer crisis, low sales of paddy and the lack of water for cultivation top that list. The following report is about an irrigation tank that was not repaired or renovated for years, making it completely useless.
This water body spans 14 acres and the water is used to cultivate around 25 acres of paddy land during both the Yalla and Maha seasons. However, local farmers say the capacity of this well has dropped over the years due to silt and mud deposits.
දැන් කන්නවල් දෙකක් තුනක් වැඩ කර ගන්න නෑ අපිට. වතුර පිරෙන්නේ නෑ දවල්ට. වාහන නෑ. බන්ට් එක කැඩී වැහිලා. යන්න එන්න පාරක් නෑ.
මේ වෙනකොට මේ වැවේ
We can only use this weather for the Maha season. We cannot use it during the Yalla season.
ගොඩ වෙලා දැන් කන්න දෙකක්.
We were not able to cultivate for 2 seasons. We do not get water from the Mahabali. We use rainwater for cultivation. Therefore, we urge the authorities to renovate this weather for us.
සියලුම බලධාරීන් අපි ඉල්ලා සිටින්නේ අපිට වැව ගැඹුර කරලා ගොවිතැන් කිරීමට අවස්ථාව ලබා දෙන නිසායි.
Many farmers have let go of rice cultivations due to this issue and opted to cultivate other crops. However, that too failed due to the lack of water. These farmers request authorities to renovate this weather so that they can cultivate both the Yalla and Maha seasons. These are the farmland of the Rathmal Kandiya village in Dimbulagala, Polonnaruwa. These rice fields are currently being destroyed due to the spread of a species of worm.
At first I thought it was a normal worm, but they did not go away with the water. Then we used pesticides. That too didn't work. The entire paddy field has been destroyed.
There are 5 government officials per every division, but none of them came here. All the fields are destroyed. People are surviving by selling off the remaining paddy. Very soon the farmers will take to the streets to secure our demands. The regional officials told News First that the relevant agencies have been informed over the matter.
News First with the people.
The Crop and Food Security Assessment Mission report, jointly carried out by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and the World Food Programme, says that 17% of the population is in moderate acute food insecurity in Sri Lanka.
The Crop and Food Security Assessment Mission report revealed that food security in Sri Lanka is improving across all provinces. A special report by Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and the World Food Programme's Crop and Food Security Assessment Mission to Sri Lanka states an estimated 17% of the population is in moderate acute food insecurity in Sri Lanka, especially in the northern, eastern and central provinces. The report estimates 3.9 million people, or 17% of the population, is in moderate acute food insecurity, which is nearly a 40% decrease from June-July last year.
The Sri Lankan rupee has further appreciated against the US dollar.
There was a rapid appreciation of the Sri Lankan rupee against the US dollar within the last week. On Monday, the buying rate of the US dollar was 297 rupees and 86 cents.
The Asian Development Bank, or the ADB, today approved a $350 million special policy-based loan to provide budget support to Sri Lanka for economic stabilization.
The Asian Development Bank program is part of a broader package of financial assistance anchored by the International Monetary Fund's Extended Fund Facility for the country, which aims to stabilize the economy and lay the foundation for economic recovery and sustained growth. ADB President Masatsugu Asakawa said the Asian Development Bank is concerned about the deep crisis in the country and its impact on the people of Sri Lanka, especially the poor and the vulnerable, particularly women. He said the ADB is committed to standing with Sri Lanka as it addresses its present challenges and strive towards economic stabilization, sustainable recovery and inclusive growth. According to the ADB, transparency and open communication will be crucial in building agreement around the reform. The ADB added that it will proactively engage to help address structural impediments and plan future support.
The Capital Maharaja Group, together with the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, or the ABU, hosted the 29th ABU Intellectual Property and Legal Committee meeting, which commenced today at the Stein Studios complex in Ratmalana.
The Capital Maharaja Group, together with the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, hosted the 29th ABU Intellectual Property and Legal Committee meeting, which is taking place on the 29th and 30th of May at Stein Studios complex in Ratmalana. The IPLC is the ABU Legal Division's flagship committee, which deals with contemporary legal and regulatory issues related to the media and broadcasting industry. The theme for this year's meeting was new developments in media and intellectual property law and impact on broadcasters. This forum was aimed at fostering, learning and exchanging of ideas. A broad range of legal and regulatory issues that have an impact on broadcasters was discussed. Mr. Sunil Kanoja, Group Director and CEO of the Capital Maharaja Group, gave the welcome address.
As I'm aware, the Intellectual Property and Legal Committee of the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union is and always been committed to discussing, sharing, analyzing, and keeping members informed about copyright, intellectual property rights, broadcasting rights, piracy, and various other related issues. The fact that many of you have traveled a long way in spite of your busy schedule to be here shows how important it is for us to unite to protect intellectual property. Our conference then is timely and important.
Mr. Ahmed Nadeem, Secretary General of the ABU, spoke on behalf of the ABU.
Intellectual property and copyright goes hand in hand when it comes to media, especially now that online streaming, OTT platforms have no boundaries. It's going beyond borders. So you have to be very, very careful of what you are sending out.
Approximately 35 international delegates from Asia Pacific attended this event. Other speakers at the forum were from the Asia Pacific and Europe. Geethanjali Ranavaka, the Director General of the National Intellectual Property Office, commented on the future of broadcasting.
The current legal and regulatory framework have worked very well for many years until this new development in the interactive digital broadcasting and also the fast-changing environment of high-speed internet infrastructure, which has brought about convergence of both industries.
A moment of silence was observed for ABU copyright expert Carol Croella, an IPLC staffer who recently passed away. Suranga Jailath, the chair of the ABU Intellectual Property and Legal Committee, addressed the session.
We promoted that the ownership of intellectual property rights of the work of art is one of the most basic rights of the creator. Through this theme, we promoted the concept that IP rights protect a person's ability to produce new ideas, concepts, and to commercialize it.
This grand event was held at the Stein Studio Complex, Ratmalana, which is the largest and most modern production studio facility in South Asia.
The police special task force arrested 7 people on charges of mining in the Kalu River.
Police STF has arrested 7 people engaged in large-scale mining at the Kaluganga, causing the river bank to erode. Police STF personnel conducted a raid in Kahangama in the Ratnapura Police Division on Sunday based on a tip-off received by the Kahavatta Police STF camp. During the raid, 7 residents of Ratnapura aged between 26 and 35 were arrested, while the equipment used for mining was seized and handed over to the National Gem and Jewellery Authority, Ratnapura. The Police Special Task Force has been working to put a stop to illegal mining that has been going on over a long period of time, which has severely damaged the balance and biodiversity of the river systems and the related natural environment.
A distressed ship, Papa Yanis III, was repaired at the Hambantota International Port after it experienced a sudden engine failure on the high seas.
Bulk carrier Papayanis 3, sailing under the Marshall Islands flag, was en route from Port Said, Egypt to Singapore when it experienced a sudden engine failure. The vessel, which was declared not under command at mid-sea, was temporarily fixed and brought to Hambantota International Port for a full repair on 10th of May. The repair was carried out by Colombo Dockyard PLC within 15 days. The COO of Hambantota International Port Group Private Limited, Tissa Wickramasinghe, has said, quote, "Our infrastructure together with the specialized port handling equipment is a plus for vessels calling for afloat repairs and long-term layup and maintenance." The repaired Papayanis 3 set sail from the Hambantota International Port last week.
Sri Lanka Navy stepped in to provide crucial assistance in transferring a foreign national who fell ill in the eastern waters of the Foul Point in Trincomalee.
Sri Lanka Navy's Eastern Naval Command was informed that a foreign individual on board the Indian cargo ship Neru Shinrui, sailing from China to India, had experienced a sudden illness. Responding to the urgent situation, the Navy directed the inshore patrol craft P-115 attached to the Eastern Naval Command to the designated sea area to bring the patient ashore. After transferring the patient from the ship to the naval craft, he was safely brought to the Trincomalee harbour whilst administering first aid. Subsequently, he was rushed to a private hospital in Trincomalee for medical attention.
The LOLC Divisavya program supporting the education of Sri Lanka's very own school students is still underway. Today's phase of the LOLC Divisavya program was carried out centering the Ampara district.
School students across Sri Lanka are being gifted school books and stationery through LOLC Divisavia. This program is being conducted by the LOLC group in collaboration with the Ministry of Education. Today, LOLC Divisavia program operated centering the Dehiyatta Kandiya and Mahaoya education zones in the Ampara district. School books and other stationery were distributed among students in the Pahalagama Primary School, Serupita Primary School, Paragasweva Primary School and several other schools in the Dehiyatta Kandiya education zone earlier today. Students of the Palegama Vidyalaya, Allegoda Vidyalaya, Saddatissa Vidyalaya and multiple other schools in the Mahaoya education zone were handed school books and other items through LOLC Divisavia today. LOLC Divisavia continues to support the future of Sri Lanka, our children.
Pedro Sanchez, the Prime Minister of Spain, has called an early general election for 23rd of July after his party suffered a major setback in local and regional elections.
Sanchez said he had informed King Philip VI of his decision to dissolve the parliament in a televised address to the nation on Monday. It came a day after his Spanish Socialist Workers' Party and its junior ally Podemos lost ground during the polls, while rival Conservative People's Party and far-right party Vox outperformed. Sanchez had previously said he would complete his 4-year term, suggesting that polls would be held in December.
The much-awaited final of the IPL 2023 is currently underway, and after winning the toss, the Chennai Super Kings decided to bowl first against the Gujarat Titans. Now batting first, the Gujarat Titans posted a formidable total of 214 runs for the loss of only 4 wickets, and CSK, or the Chennai Super Kings, chasing their 5th IPL title, are yet to bat and have been set a target of 215 runs for victory.
The player. Oh, hang on, Hardik, hang on. You don't have to go that far away from MS, it's okay.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight. For the News First team, I'm Jaimal Ratnayaka. Take care and good night.